Back here to my Rimworld game, Anarcho-Capitalist Libertarian game, with a message from Jair Messias Bolsonaro that I consider one of the few moments that this man was actually anarcho-capitalist libertarian. Listen to this.
O senhor tem esperança, o senhor tem futuro, o senhor imagina, o senhor vê o Brasil em um lugar melhor, o senhor acredita nesse país? De que maneira o senhor enxerga o Brasil de todos nós?
Só com crise, né? Não é com crise que cresce, essa palhaçada que a gente vê na imprensa por aí, né? Que a propaganda paga do governo, com o dinheiro de você, contribuinte. Só com uma crise seríssima. Me desculpa, né? Através do voto, você não vai mudar nada nesse país. Tá? Nada, absolutamente nada.
This journalist is asking Bolsonaro, what does he think about Brazil? What's going to be the future of Brazil? If Bolsonaro has any hopes for the future of Brazil. And Bolsonaro answers that there's always going to be some sort of crisis, and by voting, you are not going to change anything ever. If you ask me, Bolsonaro has a big mouth. Bolsonaro is really aggressive because Bolsonaro is Bolsonaro. You know, I mean, this man is considered to be a threat. He's considered to be a fascist. He's considered to be a Nazi. He's considered to be a cannibal, pedophile, you name it. You know, they've accused Bolsonaro of almost everything on the book. But in here, he has a point. And that's the libertarian point of MILEI, that by voting, you're just feeding the parasites of the state. By voting, you're not going to change anything ever. And I agree with the man. I'd never believed in democracy. In fact, I think this speech goes a little with what Javier MILEI says here in Argentina, that politicians are just a bunch of crooks, of parasites, of sociopaths, good-for-nothing crooks that just want to get the people's money. They do not produce anything. They do not generate any wealth. They are just taking the wealth of the people. I think Bolsonaro has a point. You know, I mean, I think Bolsonaro, of course, is a parasite. He has been in Congress for, 30 years, I think. He put his whole family in Congress, in politics. I think the man is truly a parasite. But that doesn't change the fact that in here he has some sort of reason. He is being a little libertarian. You know, I sometimes put myself in Bolsonaro's position as the president, and I understand how difficult it must have been having the global network attacking him the whole time, 24/7, using weapons of mass destruction against this man. It must have been a nightmare. But in any case, Bolsonaro didn't do anything against the political class. He didn't do anything against the political caste of parasites. In fact, he just made them stronger. Look who's back. Lula is back, the old populist politician, parasite, good for nothing, Lula. So I understand Bolsonaro has a big mouth. He's really aggressive, really funny, but he is not a threat to anybody or anything, especially considering how powerful the political class is in Brazil. Bolsonaro never posed any threat to the political class. Back to my game, Bolsonaro is still asleep. I think you should rest, man. Your situation in Brazil is really complicated right now. There's a whole part of Brazil that wants this man in jail. Yes. So he better be careful if he plans to go back to Brazil. My country is lost, man. I mean, I see no solution. Lula let himself be supported by Globo to win these elections. So if you understand how the global network works in Brazil, you're going to see that Lula is in a lot of trouble. You know, global doesn't have any sides. Global just think about global. They wanted someone like Geraldo Alckmin to be the president, but they couldn't, so they let Lula out of prison to win the elections. It was as simple as that. I don't see anything complicated. I don't see anything deep, you know. It's just global getting business done. And Lula is going to have to behave like a real obedient dog to global. Otherwise, things can get really complicated for the Lula presidency. This man is just a populist, never was a communist. He's not brave enough to be a communist. He's going to behave to global, in my opinion, and I think he's going to even have a decent presidency if global wants that to happen, you know. As long as global is in Lula's side, he's not going to have many problems, as Bolsonaro did, because Bolsonaro accused global of taking part in the 64 Brazilian coup that happened in 1964, and that was it. I think global got really upset about that accusation. It was right in front of William Bonner, that is the reporter of Global, and he blamed, you know, Bolsonaro blamed Global for helping the 64 coup. So Bolsonaro created a really strong enemy for himself, one that he could not ever defeat. In my mission, in my game, I have a mission here. Let me see. Yes, I'm going to need to accept this mission. I need another colonist for my anarcho-capitalist libertarian game. And let me see here. I have 6 days, to accept this mission. And I'm going to have to accept it. Of course, it's going to take a while before this guy joins. But I do need another colonist. Excellent game made by Tynan Sylvester. I consider this game to be a anarcho-capitalist game. Look at this guy. He's good at construction and he's intellectual, so he's going to be good for research. I already have a name in my head for this new colonist. Javier Milei got in this planet by himself first, naked, no guns, no weapons, no ways to protect himself, no food, no clothing, no money, nothing. And he had to build this colony by himself first, Bolsonaro, the ex-president of Brazil, joined later to help. He came with a tear under his eyes, as you can see in the avatar. He was crying because he lost the elections to Lula, that tried to invade my private property, that communist crap that is Lula. Lula, communist, come on. That man is almost 80 years old. He just wants, to have some comfort before he passes away. That's the whole thing behind the Brazilian elections. Nothing deep, nothing really, mysterious about the whole thing. That was it. Bolsonaro is working. I think my game is the only, in those Marvel realities, alternate realities, my game is the only place in this universe that people in politics, the political class, have to work. Hey, look at that. Lula is already working as well. That man never worked in his entire life. That lousy parasite that is Lula. Unbelievable, no? Brazil went back to Lula. The man was in jail for corruption. Well, that's going to make the job of the opposition really easy, in my opinion. No? I mean, shut up, man. You were in prison. just shut up. Go back to where you belong. That is jail. In any case, excellent game, as I said before, and I'm building here a generator, an electric generator out of wood, because I'm going to need some light for my gulag, my personal gulag for my prisoners, and my slave room. Yes, Lula, you're going to have your own slave room. Piece of crap. Bolsonaro is having some fun playing horseshoes. If you like libertarianism, anarcho-capitalism, go to Sam Cedar, take a look at the Majority Report. He has tons of debates, interesting, funny debates with libertarians, anarcho-capitalists. That's it for today.
Folks, there's more of what you've just saw where that came from. That's if you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you. Really, thank you.